I mean, as a kid, like you probably didn't never pay attention to any of the stuff that was said on like those shows like Nickelodeon, Disney, etc. It's like it was even some dirty jokes like the directors were throwing there. But as a kid, you're not gonna know because these directors they made it a way where they were so smart. It's like, well, these kids don't know what we're saying, and like things like fetishes and all this stuff, they're not gonna get that because you're a kid. And now me being an adult, it's like, man, I see why so many Disney stars and so many Nickelodeon stars they coming out with their story. Like the whole Me Too thing, it's like I get it. I was looking at Match the Source. She was the girl who played on Zoe 101. Nicole, I believe. She went through a lot of stuff behind the scenes with Dan Schneider, and just the stuff she had to endure from Britney Spears, etc. I'm friends with one of the Massey brothers. Shout out to Kyle Massey. He worked on Disney, but his brother was on Nickelodeon, and the only reason why they're so sane and you're not really going to hear about them going through any trauma is because they hung out together. Rappers took them under. It sounds weird, but rappers took them under their wing, and like they just went to separate ways. That's why a lot of people in those who's in groups, right? They're not targeted as much. So like Kyle Massey, Chris, like if you're in a group, some people like the Jonas Brothers, not saying they went through stuff, but it's gonna be undisclosed because we're in a group, we know what's right, what's wrong. And also your family, if your family is definitely behind it, it's either they have your back or they don't have your back. Like I look at Angelique Bates. She went through a lot of stuff on the All That program, abuse from her mother, CPS getting called, and you know what, Dan and other producers, they're like, let the show go on, because when you're an actor, like they really do not care about what stuff happens into your personal life. The thing that producers and everybody else wants to do, and I don't want to get targeted, because it's like I do acting too, but the truth is, it's like if they see you got a money maker, and what I mean by money maker is if you got a face, a good personality, they're gonna use that and they're gonna eat you up to get what they have to get. The whole goal of television, especially into the kids entertainment world, is to get those viewers. So nobody's catching the dirty jokes when it comes on. Nobody's catching, oh, this was very sexual. So for people like Match the Shores, I think it's Alexa Nicholas or something, like people like that, Madison Pettis, Selena and Demi. It's a whole bunch of people who had to endure abuse, and which is why they go to drugs. Not saying like you can't make your own decisions, which you can, but they're pressured to do all this stuff. And also too, it's like, I'm not going to say it's an Illuminati thing, but when you do sign the contract, not everybody, including myself, you don't read stuff all the way through, right? Your agent, or they're not even going to tell you that, because your agent, they want to cut. It's good for their pockets, so they're not going to say, man, you had to sell this, not sell your soul, but you're going to have to sacrifice certain things in order to stay successful, right? Which is why after a while they could go a little crazy. Man, I gotta do this, my mother just had this. So it's like, it's really just a plot. So that's why I kind of do feel that actors who come up today, like the whole Me Too movement, is a great thing, because back in the 80s and to like the early 2000s, it was not a lot of that. It was not a lot of agencies who was gonna have your back. It's like agencies, like they care, but at a certain point they don't care. If you're like that main star, the one who's bringing in millions of dollars, you're bringing us all this stuff. Like Miley Cyrus didn't want to be Hannah Montana. They torture her. It's things that she couldn't do. You can't eat because you gotta look this certain way. You gotta do this. You have to do that. It's a lot of you have to do. You have to do. It's like going to Disney. Like those people who work at Disney, which is even at their amusement park. Like the whole slogan at their amusement park is that you have to smile. If you do not smile, and yes, it's people who literally will watch you at Disney in that amusement park, which is why they have the characters. They got them set up in their own little spot. So if you're not smiling, it's making the park look bad. Like, why are you not smiling? This is supposed to be the happiest place on earth, which is not. So that could be the Walt Disney ghost or whatever, but it's like they want you to smile. You know why? Because they want to get it perfect, which is what they do with their celebs when they come there, and they gotta entertain them because we signed you and we gave you this much money. It's kids who's being tortured who work at Disney. A lot of people do not know this. These people be tortured. Demi Lovato, I'll use an example. When not in her PBS days with Selena, but when she was doing shows like Sunny with a Chance, Camp Rock, she couldn't eat this many days. You can't go out to this place or this venue. If something happens, we're gonna be reliable. You are a star. So it's like you're being forced. It's basically like a form of slavery in the entertainment world. You know, and that's why I say it for like me, it's like reading a contract, it's like I'm very big on certain things that I will not do to bring me down in a way. You know, the whole dress thing, I'm against wearing a dress. People be like, oh, it's money. But then I have other people who would talk about that. That could ruin your life. A lot of people don't see that. They just see that you're on TV, you're the happy guy. People on TV is rich. No, it's stuff that goes on. Like, because after the TV goes off, you got to go to the real world. I'll use an example. I looked at the Tommy Avalone special. It's on Peacock. If you guys check it out, it's actually good for like you millennials, the 80s and 90s. The I Love You, Hate Me documentary, right? It was a lady named Cheryl Leach. That from what I know from watching that, she had a son called Patrick. Patrick was like her brainchild. He thought of the character for her to bring to life. Right? Cool. You got to see Barney become a mega superstar. A lot of merchandise was sold. A lot of things took off into a stratosphere. But at the end of the day, with any other celebrity, you got to take the criticism that comes with it, the people that talk. And you know, it also takes a psychological effect too, because if you're more popular than me, right, and you're my mom, you're taking the attention to give to this person. He was hurt not only by that, you're hurt number two because it's people who go to school to tease you. And you know, like people like Demi, and I think even Zendaya, she brought it up in a book or article. Like in school, she was bullied about like certain things. So it's just a lot of stuff that you gotta endure in the real world. But those producers, they don't really care about that. They're like, bro, if you can make us this amount of money, we'll do this for you. But we're still going to torture you by doing this. So this is why I kind of feel like that Me Too movement, it isn't powerful. I think we should still have it. But you should also crack down on producers who are doing these things. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are not going to get caught because they've been doing it so many years and they've been giving you so much good shows like iCarly, Victorious. I could even go to some Disney shows, Disney movies. These directors are so great, you know, so even if they get arrested, you got that money to be like, man, I could get the best lawyer in Beverly Hills, California. I could get out of jail. I tortured Amanda Bynes. Who cares? Amanda Bynes made me $15 million in like 2 years. So yes, it is a psychological thing. So it's not. I'm not gonna put everything on a celebrity. Like, oh no, it's dumb. They thought of this. It's not that. So you have to look it on that side. So that's why I say actors, people who actually get into acting, please read over everything that is being shown to you. Get a good lawyer. Like if you really serious about entertainment because it's not all fairy tales and rainbows. It's some dark stuff that you actually gotta endure.